Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to sort of follow on from the last one I uploaded, which was one about songs I think should have been singles. So this one here is still going to be about singles, but whenever I was younger and I was banging a lot of singles of the recent chart hits, it was always great, especially if it was one of the artists you really liked and you bought the single and you found out that the B-side wasn't on the LP. It was an exclusive single, or an exclusive B-side. It was the icing on the cake, and especially if it was any good. Now I know some artists use B-sides as putting on any old crap that they wanted, just to get rid of, or to fill the B-side, which I think was a shame, but some artists did. I'm not going to mention any, but I have a few in mind. Some artists used it as a method of expressing themselves and showing the true music that they were producing and their true live sound, and one example of that is Sweet. They were doing the sort of catchy Mike Chin and Chapman songs, and on the B-side they put their harder rock edge songs. And then there's some artists that that really treated the B-side with respect and put on songs which were nearly as good and sometimes better than the A-sides. And the one band I think about obviously is the Beatles. Whenever there's such fantastic B-sides like Revolution, Rain, She's a Woman, This Boy, I'll Get You, stuff like that, all excellent stuff. Yeah, I know in America they actually took those B-sides and made albums, made their own albums, but that's a different matter altogether. Whether you agree with that or not, it's a different story. So what I thought I'd do is show a load of singles where I think the B-sides are great, but they were never on any original album. Obviously, since they have been released on various compilations and maybe on CD reissues as bonus tracks and so forth. But at the time, these songs were only available on the flip side of whatever single. And I've got them in no particular order, so we'll fire through them. First one, The Sweet. This is Fox on the Run. The B-side of this is the fantastic Misdemeanor with the lead vocals by Steve Priest, and I think it's nearly every bit as good as Fox on the Run. And it's one of their own compositions, as was Fox on the Run as well. So, excellent song. These come from all different genres, and hopefully there's some singles that you've never seen me showing before. This is Big Country in a Big Country, and the B-side of this is All of Us, which is like a sort of a slowish to medium pace song, and I think it's really infectious, especially the vocals on it. It's a really, really good song. The Boomtown Rats, and this is Diamond Smiles. And the B-side of this is Late Last Night. Wasn't featured on the Fine Art of Surfacing or any other albums, and it's a great little number, very sort of very punchy little number, let's call it that way. It's a really good song. This is Love on a Farm Boy's Wages by XTC, and I'm cheating a little bit here because this is the double pack single. And on the second disc there's a song called Toys, which is absolutely fantastic, and it eventually got released as a bonus track on the parent album at the time, which was Mummer. So Toys by XTC, really good song, only available on the double pack. It wasn't actually on the single disc or a single 7-inch single, you had to get the double pack to get it. Not only were the Beatles great at releasing fantastic B-sides, but so were the Kinks, and this is Autumn Almanac from '67, and the B-side of that was the highly infectious Mr. Pleasant. Now I know that Mr. Pleasant was issued as an export single, an A-side in its own right, but for the UK Mr. Pleasant was only available as the B-side of Autumn Almanac. The Pretenders, Never Do That, great song from their great album Pact. The Never Do That song is slightly reminiscent of Back in the Chain Gang, but they do a really excellent cover of the Beatles' Not a Second Time on the B-side of this, and it's really, really good, and again, not available on any album. Elvis Costello single Sweet Dreams, and the B-side of this is a song called Psycho. I'm not too sure who wrote it, but it's a really excellent song. It's a live recording too, and it's just as good as the A-side. Brilliant version, brilliant song. Well, when I say brilliant version, I've never heard the original, so but it's a brilliant song. So that's Psycho, the B-side of Sweet Dreams. I have showed this before, and this is the Clash's English Civil War, and the B-side of this is Pressure Drop. Again, I don't know who wrote it. It's one of those sort of reggae ska type songs, but it's better than English Civil War, and it's really, really good. And again, it never featured on Give Us Enough Rope. The Bangles, this is Hero Takes a Fall, which is, as I mentioned in the last, it shouldn't have been a single, but the B-side is Where Were You When I Needed You, and it's a really, really good song. Now this may have featured on the cassette version, I'm not too sure, of All Over the Place, but it certainly didn't feature on the vinyl album. So Where Were You When I Needed You? Great song. Of course, the Smiths. And there's quite a few you could choose for the Smiths, but the one I'm going for is the B-side of William, It Was Really Nothing, and that is the less than 2 minute long Please 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 Let Me Get What I Want, and it is awesome, especially the mandolin bit at the very end. Yes, I know it featured on Hatful of Hollow, but Hatful of Hollow was a compilation album of singles, B-sides and BBC recordings, so Please 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 Let Me Get What I Want. Squeeze have also were very good with their B-sides, but the one that really stands out to me is the B-side of Sunday Street, and that is Maidstone from 1991, I believe, or is it 92, 91? And the Maidstone song is actually the best song I think they released in the whole of 1991. It's not on the Play album, but it's probably better than anything from Play. Maybe The Truth or Walk a Straight Line would be of the same standard, but Maidstone is absolutely wonderful and is by far better than Sunday Street. The Jam were excellent with their B-sides. You know, you have some real classics like The Butterfly Collector, Seesaw, even the slightly whimsical Aunties and Uncles, as well as Tales from the Riverbank, which was the B-side of Absolute Beginners. Many thought it should have been the A-side, but I don't think so. The one I'm going to pick is the B-side of Start, and that's Liza Radley. And it's an acoustic number, but it's absolutely perfect. It is really, really good. Maybe this should have got onto sound effects, I don't know, but just to have it and hear it is a really, really good song. So Liza Radley, B-side of Start. Adam and the Ants, I mentioned before in another video, he used a lot of his old demos, re-recorded them for B-sides, and one of the best of them is the B-side of Stand and Deliver, and that is Beat My Guest. And I remember years ago they used to play Stand and Deliver down at our local roller disco, which I was pathetic at. I could go straight but I couldn't turn, so I kept banging into the wall. And they also played Beat My Guest. They always flipped it and played the B-side as well. So for a B-side to get played every bit as much at a kids disco is telling you something, because most children don't listen to the B-sides. But yeah, great B-side of this is Beat My Guest. Elton John, he's had quite a few. I was nearly going to pick Cold Highway, the B-side of The Bitch Is Back, but I went for this one, and this is Princess, which is the third single from Jump Up. And the B-side of this is called The Retreat, which was recorded during the Fox sessions. It was then released as the B-side of Princess, which is from the Jump Up sessions, and then it became a bonus track on the CD of the next album, which was Too Low for Zero. It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant, and by far better than Princess. I think maybe they should have done this as a double A side, but it's the B-side, The Retreat, the B-side of Princess. Little bit of glam rock, and this is Slade's The Bangin' Man, and the B-side of this is the ballad She Did It To Me, and it's just a fantastic song, and it never featured in any albums. It took a long time for the song to ever be re-released on the actual CD, the B-sides, but brilliant. She Did It To Me, the B-side of The Bangin' Man. Also, T-Rex, Get It On, the B-side of this is There Was a Time and Raw Ramp. It's all the one song, so it is, although some singles credit to There Was a Time and Raw Ramp and some just Raw Ramp. It did get on the Bowling Boogie compilation album, which hit the #1 spot and was the opening track of side 2. It's fantastic, it really is, and it maybe should have been a single in its own right. But There Was a Time, Raw Ramp, and T-Rex did an awful lot of that because they had some really good B-sides like Thunderwing, Cadillac, Sunken Rags, Jitterbug Love. A lot of really, really good songs. Paul McCartney and Wings, and this is Hell on Wheels. This is a standalone single unless you're in the States, where it for some reason was put on Band on the Run, and I don't understand why, because it doesn't fit. But the B-side of this is Country Dreamer, and it's a little country number recorded around the time of Red Rose Speedway, and it is fantastic. I think it's now on the double Red Rose Speedway reissue album, which I don't want to get into it, but it was originally planned as a double album and then it was cut back to a single album. But it's McCartney at his catchiest, and it's a great little number. Band I Very Rarely Show, and that's Smokey, and this is called It's Your Life. It's a good single. But the B-side of it is called Now You Think You Know, and it's written by Terry Utley and the band, and it is every bit as good, if not better. Extremely catchy, all of that sort of acoustic-y, smoky style. But it's a really, really good song. So that's Now You Think You Know, the B-side of It's Your Life. Albert Hammond, and this is Down by the River from his first album. Extremely catchy song. And the B-side of this is The Last One to Know, which is another really beautiful acoustic-y song. Sort of, it's not slow, but it's like mid-tempo, but it's a really good singer-songwriter type song. I love it. It's great, and I think it should have been on the album, but that's the only place you can get it. You can't even get it in CD. It's never been issued on CD at all, or an MP3 file or anything. So the only way to hear that is to get a copy of the original single. Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel, Make Me Smile, brilliant single. The B-side of that is Another Journey, which would be, if it had been on the Best Years of Our Lives, would have been in the top 4 tracks. Fantastic song, but only ever issued as the B-side of Make Me Smile. Cheating a little bit here, and this is really an EP, and this is Genesis' Spot the Pigeon EP, but the main song for this was Match of the Day, and Pigeons was also on the first side of it. But if you flip over to the second side, you get the song Inside and Out, which is awesome. It's from around the time of Wind and Wuthering, and again I think it would have worked well on the Wind and Wuthering album. But it's a really, really good song, and again, I've said this before, around this time is my favourite period for Genesis, like the 76 to about 1981. So, Inside and Out. Fox, Only You Can, big hit in 1975. The B-side is called Out of My Body, and it's sung by Nusha Fox, and it's wonderful. Never featured on the album. It's just a really wonderful, dreamy song. No picture sleeve for this, I'm afraid, but this is, you can't see, Stevie Nicks and our great but slightly dated single Stand Back. It's my favourite single of hers, but the B-side of this is her singing to only an acoustic guitar, and it's called Garbo, and it's a wonderful, wonderful song. So that's Garbo, the B-side of Stand Back. This one's a bit of fun, and this is Mike Oldfield's first single, where he took part of the Tubular Bells theme, and it's not the Exorcist theme. A lot of people think it is. It's not. It's apart from the part 2 of Tubular Bells. It's very atmospheric. But the B-side of this is the old standard Froggy Went A Courting, and I think it's hilarious. And the girl that actually does a lot of the vocals or the talking in this is so posh. It's unbelievable. She really is. Sounds so posh. I love it. It's great. Froggy Went A Courting, the B-side of Mike Oldfield's single. This is a maxi single, but there's 4 songs on it. It's not an EP, it's a maxi single. Don't ask me what the difference is, I have no idea. Maybe it's to do with the price. But this is Mungo Jerry's You Don't Have To Be in the Army to Fight in the War. It's a great song. But the 2 songs on side 2, O'Reilly and We Shall Be Free, are excellent. We Shall Be Free is quite reminiscent of Bob Dylan's I Shall Be Free, tune-wise, so that's obviously where he got it from. But really, really good. And O'Reilly is a real good sort of foot stomping, slap your knee, sing along song. Great stuff. Cat Stevens, Morning Has Broken. Flip it over and you get the very hippie I Want to Live in a Wigwam, but it's great. It really, really is good. And I think I mentioned before in our video I would have preferred this to have been on Teaser and the Firecat rather than Changes 4. It's a great wee number. We're getting down. Roxy Music, Same Old Scene. The B-side of this is the non-album Lover, which is of the same type of music. It's very flesh and bloody, but it's far better than most of the songs on Flesh and Blood. It's a really, really good song. Why it was relegated to a B-side, I do not know, but it's really good, and it's as good as, if not better than, Same Old Scene. A bit of the boss, Bruce Springsteen, and this is Dancing in the Dark. And the B-side of this is Pink Cadillac, and this got played an awful lot, even in my record shop when this was out. They discovered Pink Cadillac on the B-side and they played it more than Dancing in the Dark. It was covered by, God, who was it? I can't remember. Somebody covered it in the late 80s and had a decent enough size hit with it, but it's a really, really good song. And would have, well, I don't know if it would have sat well on Born in the USA, most probably, but it's every bit as good as Dancing in the Dark, and I would play it more than Dancing in the Dark. I've showed this before, and this is Sparks, This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us, and the B-side of this is the non-album Barbie Cutie, which is awesome, but I wouldn't say it's better than This Town because it's one of the best singles ever. So Barbie Cutie, never on any album. Okay, it's a B-side now, or an extra track now on the CD, but it never featured originally on Kimono My House. And 2 more. The Housemartins Happy Hour, great song. The B-side's a little instrumental with harmonica called The Mighty Ship, which is so infectious. It really is good. It's only a couple of minutes long, even if it's 2 minutes. But it is excellent. It's just the Housemartins type strummy guitar with, and it's quite quick with the harmonica. It's great stuff. So The Mighty Ship is the B-side of Happy Hour. And lastly, I'll show this one, and this one is just every bit as famous as its A-side. And this is Yazoo, and it's Only You, and the B-side of this is Situation. I think Situation was the single in America, and it was a huge hit on the dance floors whenever Only You came out. Only You is the slow song and Situation is the dance song, but it really is good, and it never featured on the UK edition at least of Upstairs at Eric's, or even, what's the second one called? You and Me Both. So Situation, fantastic non-album B-side of Yazoo's Only You. So that's about 30 or so B-sides that never featured on the original albums. They're standalone exclusive B-sides, and as I said before, it was always great to buy a single and find out, there's a song you don't have, and it was even better whenever it was decent. But as I said before, there was some B-sides that were truly awful. So anyway, that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have another video quite soon. Okay, now, thanks, bye bye.